let's talk about narcissists and mind control, shall we?
An insidious and painful form of manipulation, very often used by narcissists and other toxic people. But there's so much more to it than just that.
So that's exactly what we're talking about today at queenbee.com. So let's get started.
Closed captioning provided by Athena Moberg and CPTSDFoundation.org.
My name's Angie Atkinson, and on this channel I offer free daily video coaching to help you discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. I like to call it toxic relationship rehab. So if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button and let's get going. Narcissists love to manipulate you and control you. Often this looks like gaslighting and brainwashing. It can be so subtle that you don't even realize it's happening. What is mind control exactly? Well, it involves the manipulative tactics that narcissists use to subtly control and manipulate you. It could involve gaslighting, projection, lying, hiding, and more. And narcissists are especially happy to use it to sort of manage you so that you will do, say, and be, well, exactly what they want in any given moment. The worst part is that it could happen to literally anyone. Even the most intelligent people can be subjected to mind control. And that's partially because of its subtle but highly targeted nature. So how can you tell if you're dealing with a narcissist who is using these pervasive techniques on you? How do you know if you're under mind control? The fact is, well, you just don't know. Right? Okay, let me play devil's advocate for a moment here. What if I told you that everything you're doing could be a response that fits perfectly into another person's secret plan? Now, if you take that as a real possibility, then could you simply just give up, decide that nothing is really within your control? You have control over nothing? But wait a minute, you don't have to do that. You're a thinking person, right? Well, then you could imagine that you could have control over more than you might realize in this moment. Much more. But how can you know for sure? Well, I'd ask you to start with a simple question. Am I acting or am I reacting? If you find that you're reacting, then you are almost always automatically responding to something that you see as outside of your control. You're doing this in an attempt, consciously or otherwise, to gain some control back. And this is a potential sign of some sort of mind control in your life. So is someone controlling you? No one likes to feel powerless and out of control. And when we're dealing with toxic people in our lives, we so often find ourselves feeling just like that. We stop trusting ourselves and we give in to letting the narcissist ruin our lives on some level or another. So what's the solution? How do we stop letting toxic people control our lives and stop them from telling us what we like and what to do, what to think, and who we are? The answer is that we need to do something intentional, something positive that is not a response to the external environment that we're living in. Let me emphasize the word positive here because an intentional negative destructive act must act on or destroy something pre-existing. So it would then be something to which you are reacting, you see? Let's dig in a bit. Choosing an intentional positive action could be a lot harder than it might seem because it requires certain qualities that most survivors of narcissistic abuse can find hard to sort of pick up. There are 4 things that you need to do in order to be able to take the positive intentional action that we're talking about here. Number 1, intentionally thinking. You know, I often like to joke that I kind of think too much, and it's true. I mean, it's even the tagline on my personal blog, Angie.inc. Maybe this is because of my toxic relationships in the past. Honestly, while some people just don't want to have to think about stuff, us survivors are different. We often think too much. We can sometimes live in our own heads, and as you know, this might leave us feeling a little out of touch, to say the very least. In the throes of abuse, we can find ourselves completely checking out. You know, dissociation comes calling. Thankfully, though, our unconscious reactive mind will do most of our actions for us. Admittedly, we sometimes rely on it entirely too much, especially when we're stressed, or we rely on it in the wrong way, and we allow it to dictate our every move by letting our emotions guide us. Manipulative narcissists often know this, and they will use it to control you through fear, anger, threats, and frustration. Now, if we're going to make any significant change in our lives, we must look outside of this, and we must intentionally direct our thoughts to choose intentionally our emotional responses. This will give us more control of ourselves and our own lives. Number 2. Being creative. Creativity can be difficult because it requires taking action that is not linked to some external stimulus. This, of course, requires thought, but we have the ability to sort of train ourselves and our unconscious minds to be very creative. Consider artist Salvador Dali. and what he was able to do with just the use of his creative mind. We could probably agree that nothing Dali did in the field of art could easily be compared to anything prior to him. Would you agree? The same was true with his life. Dali was absolutely fascinated by the images that he would see right as he was falling asleep or right as he was waking up in the morning. For him, these images were very vivid and colorful and interestingly bizarre. In order to produce this amazing artwork that we all have come to know and love, Dali found himself running experiments where he would sort of figure out what was the best way to make these images happen and then to capture them before they just fly out of his head. We all know how that happens, right? Well, this would eventually lead him to some of his very best known artwork that you're seeing here on the screen right now. Reportedly, the way that Dali found that worked best was to put a tin plate on the floor in front of him and then to sit in a chair beside it. He would hold the spoon over the plate as he worked to relax his body, kind of meditate himself into sleep. And the moment that he would begin to fall asleep, the spoon would slip out of his fingers, it would hit the plate, and there would be a loud crash, which would wake him up at the very perfect moment, because then he could have seen the images and then still be awake and aware enough to remember them while he painted them. Number 3, taking inspired action. Action takes effort and motivation, and as survivors, we struggle with this sometimes. Maybe we don't trust ourselves, or maybe we are so used to being told what to do or how to act that we just sort of let things happen, or maybe we react to things and this makes us exhausted and we feel like we need to conserve our energy. But we have to remember that by taking creative action, we actually create energy. Going back to Salvador Dali as an example, his life was full of energy that he created intentionally. When his peers tried to control him, he would turn his response into some new form of performance art. This would, of course, totally blow away the people who were trying to influence him, and it would totally entertain anyone else who was watching. So, if you're looking to take inspired action in your life, get creative and think of ways that you can do something different than what you're doing now, something that might help you change your life, or even something that could help you just do a little better on something or change a bad habit, like Salvador Dali and the spoon on the plate. What is your spoon on the plate? Number 4, having courage. I know, it's cliche, but it's the real deal. And a little bit of courage can really change your entire life. You have to have the courage to deal with feeling uncomfortable sometimes, right? It's really the only way that we can ever push our lives and ourselves to the next level, to the place where we want to be. To create change of any sort is going to require just a little bit of discomfort. We are where we are because we found ourselves comfortable, even if it feels crazy to hear me say that because you're like, I'm so uncomfortable I can't even stand myself right now. Part of you has found some level of comfort in your situation wherever you are now or wherever you were. If you've already left, then you already know that creating that positive change required some discomfort. We all have to be able to look outside of our comfort zone and find that space that is tolerable, where we can begin to step outside of that comfort zone and even kind of, take a vacation there sometime so that we can create real positive change in our lives. We have to almost live there. But why else is this important when we're talking about mind control? That's because when the narcissist sees that they cannot control you with fear and anger, they will sometimes escalate their attempts through threats, intimidation, and in some cases worse. So it's very important to have courage, but also just to be very careful and to protect yourself. Take the steps necessary to keep yourself safe and then don't overfocus on it. So what do you think? This brings me to the question of the day. And the question of the day is, have you ever been mind controlled by a narcissist and what did you do to figure it out? And do you have any tips to share to help other people? Share your thoughts, share your ideas, share your experiences in the comment section below and let's talk about it. I've been doing a thing in my videos where I'm sharing a screen grab of my subscribers in fast motion. And I had a couple of people say to me they would prefer that I don't do that, so I'm going to stop that. But I do want to say thank you so much for being a subscriber, for being part of my family, and for being part of my community. Everyone who watches my videos, likes my videos, interacts with my videos in any way, comments, you're all helping me to spread my message just a little further and help even more survivors to overcome narcissistic abuse. I really appreciate it, and I just want to say thank you one more time. And while I'm at it, I'd like to offer a quick shout out to my amazing channel members who support me through the YouTube channel membership program. With their help, I'm able to produce more videos, be more connected to you, and offer more free resources at queenbeing.com so that you can discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse without having to pay for anything. That means the world to me because it is my life's mission to help as many people as possible to do exactly that. Thank you so much. My inner circle includes Essa, Tiffany, Stephanie, Denise, Deborah, Missietta, Lou, Mental Hilarity, Julie, Michael, Shauna. Kimberly, Jen, Trisha, Stacy, T-Bear, Sylvia Rose, Thoy, Victoria, Julie, Patty, La Precious, Beautiful Purpose, Abraham, Chantel, Ashley, Carrie Ann, Charity, Steph, Dana, Mo Cowboy, Shay, Christina, Ray Ray, T, Christy, Boku, Alda, Smith and Wesson, Ms. Lisa, Martha, Freedom Lee, Mindy, Lynn, Marcia, Linnell, Phoenix, Cherie, Alice, Carrie, Angel, Bible News Radio, Linda, Charlie, Laura, Pierre Lala, Janet, Paul, Delilah, Sarah Lee, Marlene, James F, Trisha, Life's Revival, Lorenzo, Deborah, Roxanne, Susan, and my very first supporter, Angela Falsetto. Thank you. Again, I just want to say thank you so much for hitting that join button. Your support really does mean a lot to me. Again, thank you so much. That's all I've got for you right now, but as always, thank you so much for being a part of my day and a part of my life, and hey, thanks for letting me be a part of yours. It really does mean a lot to me. Now, before I go, make sure you take a look at the videos I'm leaving for you right there and right there. And while you're here, hit that subscribe button so we can stay connected and continue on this healing journey together. I'll see you soon.